How we doing, guys? It's Seb Grant here from Quit Weed, and I'm going to go through 60 reasons to quit smoking marijuana. Special request from Kane Gel Hall 2. Sorry, however, I got that wrong. And she says, I'd love to see a video that tells me about all the benefits of quitting. Sometimes I wonder if anything will really change or if it's worth it. What kind of positive life changes did you see after quitting? And we've also got an email here from SD. Hi there, Seb. I watched your videos on quitting weed yesterday and I was wondering if you could make a list of the benefits you reap after abstaining from marijuana. For example, did you see a drastic improvement in your cognitive abilities, memory, critical thinking, reasoning skills, etc., behavior, social interactions? Yes, 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 yes. And also, after how long do these changes become apparent? Thanks in advance. Thank you for the question. And look, man, all the physical things come back very quickly. Some of the mental things take a lot longer. Something described as burnout or mental fog. That mental fog is going to take a little bit longer to come back, but there's no specific time frame I can tell you. I mean, your brain's just another muscle like any other muscle in your body. Let's say you just didn't use your legs for 3 months and they became really skinny, really weak, no muscle mass there. It's like asking the doctor, how long until my legs improve? He can't really give you an answer to that because it depends how much exercise you give the muscles in your legs. Exact same with your brain, the cognitive abilities you're talking about, the mental dexterity. It comes back so quickly if you train your brain to make it come back quickly. If you do nothing, it's still going to come back to where it was before, but it's going to take a lot longer than the physical side effects like trying to sleep, trying to eat, the other things that come along with quitting marijuana. Before I go into it, I just want to say 9% of daily smokers have trouble quitting. So more than likely, even if you smoke weed, this doesn't apply to you. I don't want you to start telling me, oh, no one has trouble quitting marijuana. Yes, they do. I don't want you to tell me, oh, only weak-minded people have trouble quitting marijuana. That's not true either. It is a type of personality that has a problem with weed, and it might not be you. So all I'm saying is you are a stoner. Please have an open mind. Some people might not be like you. These are the benefits that you will see when you quit weed, and it's good to be reminded of these. If any of these stand out to you, why don't you write it down? Not all of these are going to be relevant to every person, but if you write down the ones that are relevant to you, read them daily, it will completely change your perception of marijuana. And yes, for the total better. So the first reason is breathing clean and deeply. And this is such a big difference, you know. I remember when I smoked weed, I had like a disgusting sort of sound in my throat when I would breathe, and that was just because I was smoking so damn much. No more coughing up tar. A lot of people that come to me literally cough up big wads of black crap because they smoke so much tar. Yes, there's tar in marijuana, guys. And that will all stop within 2 weeks of quitting marijuana. It will actually increase after you quit, but it will come out very quickly. And there's actually something you can get to make that a lot quicker, which we show you about in Quit Marijuana, the Complete Guide. You will have an increase in percentage of oxygen intake, which means you will also have a dramatic increase in your energy. This is something you don't know about until you quit. You don't realize how much energy you're supposed to have. You will have sharper mental dexterity, smoother mood transitions, increase in short-term memory, increase in stress tolerance. So you're using marijuana to control your stress. As soon as you take weed away, you're going to feel stressed because you don't have a high stress tolerance. You're not naturally coping with your own stress. Same with emotional intelligence. As soon as you quit, you have an increase in emotional intelligence, which means when your whole life goes to shit and you lose your partner or somebody dies in your family, or you just lose your job or something terrible happens to you, you can deal with that a lot better if you're not a stoner. You'll also have tons of more free time to yourself. It's not just smoking weed that takes your time, it's chasing weed all the time, looking to score. There's so much time you're wasting as a stoner, and you're really going to see that as soon as you quit. And here's another 10. Improved diet without the munchies. Dramatic increase in confidence, no more fumbling your words. You know, a lot of people come to me and they smoke so much weed all day, every day. They're so stoned when they get to me, and they can't even tell because they're always stoned. And they can't even spit out a sentence, you know? They can't structure a sentence properly. And it takes me a long time to just listen to them. And it's annoying to me, and it's annoying to them as well. Maybe that's not you, right? But if it is, write it down. This is one of those reasons. Increase in life results generally. You will get further ahead as a non-stoner than as a stoner. And you can't compare your life to anyone else's. You can only compare your life results today to the person you would be if you had not smoked marijuana and the results you would have got that way. If you honestly think marijuana helps you in your life results, good for you. Increasing creativity. See, a lot of people think, me included when I smoked weed, that marijuana helps you in your creativity. But the fact of the matter is, professionals that rely on creativity for their income, so I'm talking about painters, musicians, people that really need their creative juices to flow in order to produce results in life and get paid, these are the type of people that come to me most often. And the reason they usually can't quit is because they have a limiting belief stuck in their head. They believe something that isn't true. And what they are believing is they can't produce music without marijuana. They can't write a beautiful article without marijuana. They can't paint a beautiful painting without marijuana. And as soon as we destroy that limiting belief, and it just isn't true anymore in their own mind, they quit marijuana instantly, creativity goes up, and their business skyrockets. Like I always say, ex-stoners are some of the most successful people on the planet, right? Look at Steve Jobs, look at Richard Branson. These aren't people that smoke weed every day, like I hear in my comments from teenagers. These are people that used to smoke weed and quit. Another reason, enjoying simple pleasures in life. You actually do. You enjoy those little things a lot more. When you smoke weed, you don't even notice them. You're too busy thinking about smoking more weed. Everything tastes better without weed, and I know I'll be challenged on that due to the whole munchies thing, but it's true. Your taste buds are dulled when you smoke a lot of marijuana. That's true. It's the same for someone that smokes cigarettes. They can hardly taste a thing. By the way, the munchies, what they are, is there's a valve at the top of your stomach that closes off, technically called a sphincter, right? Like your a-hole. And when that feels pressure, it sends to your brain a signal that you're full, which means you no longer want to eat food. When you get the munchies, that signal turns off. Not only that, but your metabolism is increased, which means you can eat a lot more. But it's not healthy. You're actually stretching your stomach full of stuff that isn't even good for you. And it actually can create heartburn too, because that valve needs to stretch open, which means the strong acids in your stomach can now come up the pipe out of your stomach, and it can cause heartburn. I'm just saying. Increase body and chest size. This is good for boys and girls, right? Everybody wants a bigger chest, and if you smoke marijuana, you end up scrawnier. There's a lot of obese stoners as well, and there's a lot of skinny stoners. What there isn't a lot of is aerobic fit stoners. Big bodies, toned bodies. You don't see that so much with stoners. You'll also have an increased humility and an ability to relax. If you think marijuana helps you relax, what you actually think is you need a tool to help you relax. You need something outside yourself to help you relax. And what it means is when you don't have that tool, when you don't have marijuana, you can't relax. And this is really unhealthy for you. That will increase your stress levels. And stress is one of the major factors to increase the acidity levels of your body. If you look at an acidity pH level and did an average of everybody you know, right? You tested everybody's pH levels. Most people you know are going to be well too acidic. In the world we live in today with stress, everyone eats crap. Everybody has an acidic body. But if you are not able to relax on your own accord and you're using a tool to help you relax, not only is that going to increase the acidity levels in your body, but just smoking marijuana is also adding toxins into your body, which is going to increase the acidity levels further. If you don't believe me, test your acid levels. I'll bet they're off the charts. Number 20 is the ability to sleep and wake up more easily. And if you think marijuana helps you sleep, it's the same as all of these things, man. Whatever marijuana gives you with one hand, it takes away with the other hand in the long term. So a lot of people think, I can't sleep, I need to smoke weed, so now I can sleep. You're not sleeping, you're just going through the cycle you're used to. You're basically passing out, and you wake up in the morning burnt out. What you're supposed to do is wake up in the morning with abundant energy. That's how it is supposed to work. Stoners don't even know what I'm talking about. Number 21 is the no BS risk of legal problems, and it is bullshit. Personally, I think marijuana should be legal. If alcohol is legal, marijuana should be legal. But I still think marijuana has a place in our society. What I see a problem with is people that cannot leave weed alone. 22, you'll have less risk of health problems. That is a fact. Everyone always tells me about how marijuana can help stopping cancer spreading through your body. How about don't get cancer? There's a good start. And marijuana stopping cancer spreading through your body, it's kind of a technicality why it works. It does work. It is true. But unless you're someone with cancer, there is no point to start smoking marijuana. And even if you do have cancer, there's a ton of other things that need to go into that equation before you decide it's good for you, right? 23, no wasting time scoring. Man, it just takes you a whole day looking for the dealer sometimes, and then they're out of weed, and then you're panicky, and you check the carpet and under the bloody rug for weed. You're looking for a nugget. It's a horrible way to live, man. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff when you quit. Deeper relationships with everyone. This is just true. When you meet a stranger, you're easily going to talk to them when you're not a marijuana smoker, right? Not only with just strangers, but with your friends as well. You're actually going to have closer relationships with your friends, with your partner, with anyone and everything that comes up. Increased money. Even dealers I put here. Look, man, I used to sell marijuana and I used to sell a lot of marijuana. And I used to make a lot of money, but it's nothing to do with the money you earn. It's to do with the long term strategic plan with money, which is non existent to most marijuana smokers. Increased desire to improve yourself and others. Develop your witty personality again. If you're honest, if you've smoked weed for, say, 10 years and you're honest with yourself, I bet you were more of a witty personality, a bit more fun to be with 10 years ago. And again, I'm talking to people that smoke a lot of marijuana, can't seem to stop. I'm not talking to every marijuana smoker. Caring more for other people, become more popular instantly. And if you're sitting in your little social circles and thinking, well, if I didn't smoke weed, how would I be more popular? That's in your little social circles. You're one person among 7 billion people, and I can promise you the majority of them do not smoke marijuana. More people will tolerate a non-smoking person. 31 and onwards, no paranoia, no indecision, no analysis paralysis. This is the biggest one with people that smoke weed. You just constantly analyze everything, especially to do with your own life. And it's not the best way to get ahead. The best way to get ahead is to take action and learn from the results of your action. 34, less personal insecurities. You look happier and healthier. You feel happier and healthier. Yeah, they're two different things. You increase your presence. Here's the thing about presence. We all have like a frame rate of how often you actually consciously observe the world. When you're normal, it's around 60 times a second you're present. When you smoke weed, your presence goes right down. The amount of times you're actually present in the world per second is something like halved, which means you're missing all types of crap going on around you. You just completely miss it. Have you ever looked down at your watch and saw what the time was, then looked back up and you still don't know the time? This is the type of thing that happens very regularly to marijuana smokers, and it's affecting every single part of your personality. Anyway, moving forward, 38, increased alignment with your spirit. And this is absolutely true. I now meditate. It's something I don't talk about too often because most people don't meditate. A lot of people have some weird perceptions about it. But if you ask anybody that knows how to meditate, if they can smoke marijuana and meditate, you can't. I've spoken to a professional meditation teacher, and what she said was when she smoked marijuana and she meditated and tried to go into her higher consciousness, what she saw was a big wooden shield kind of thing blocking what she can usually see. So a lot of people meditate to get a deeper understanding of not only themselves, but their place in the world and how you are supposed to interact with everybody around you and your overall goal. What is your point of being here? That's what your spirit's all about. It tells you what makes you happy so that you can go in that direction. You try one thing, oh, I didn't like that. You try another thing, I love that. That's the direction you need to go in, right? Whatever it is you love. Now, when you smoke weed, you don't feel these feelings as deeply at all, which means you're much more likely to go in the wrong direction in life. And there are wrong and right directions in life. Some directions make you happy, and that's the right way for you to go. Some directions make you unhappy, and that's the wrong way to go. The problem is with smoking weed every single day, all day, it makes it very hard for you to detect which way you should be going in life. So you end up doing some shit you hate, right? Like the guy that just emailed me, he said, I'm in construction, I want to be in sales, and he's 30, man. He's been doing this for 10 years, something he hates. Why? Because he hates it so much when he gets home, he just smokes weed to escape the world instead of freaking dealing with them. And so many people do this with computer games, with anything, man. How many people do you know go home from work every day and just bury themselves in a computer game or some project they have, and they don't deal with life? 39, increase in certain problem-solving abilities. Number 40, gain respect for yourself. It's called total self-respect. 41, natural highs will increase. So you're going to start feeling that same happiness feeling you get from marijuana from not smoking marijuana, right? And weed will start to bring you down. It's called a change your perception about what you're doing. And that's what we do. We change your perception about marijuana so you can freaking quit it and get ahead in life. 42, no need for sunnies. And I don't know what you first thought of. Tell me what you first thought of. Did you think I meant wearing sunnies to hide your bloodshot eyes? Or do you think I mean, your eyes will be able to resist the sun easier without sunglasses? Because that's what I actually meant. I meant that you will not need sunglasses as often when you don't smoke weed because your eyes can resist the sun naturally, like you were meant to do in nature. When you smoke weed all day, you need those sunnies because your eyes are weaker, as is the rest of your body and mind. 43. No more scary chest pains. Everybody relates to that one. 44. Your ability to persuade others increases, and persuasion skills are a really big deal in life, not just for people in sales, right? For example, number 45, the ability to attract sexy time. If you have someone that you are attracted to of the opposite sex, or maybe not even the world we live in today, but if you have someone you are attracted to, you really should be able to approach them and persuade them to spend some time with you. And then hopefully in that time, if you guys are aligned and you are meant to be, you can move on to the next level and get your sexy time, maybe even have a beautifully long relationship. Problem is with stoners, they say, I really like that person, and they never do anything about it. Maybe they go home and overanalyze it. I don't know. A lot of people that come to me in their older ages, 40, 50, 60, that want to quit marijuana, a lot of times one of the biggest reasons is that they have lost their partner. Their wife of 30 years left them. And maybe it wouldn't have happened if they didn't smoke weed. Maybe it would have too, but it's just another thing. Health is a really big deal, but there are worse things than marijuana for your health, physical and mental. And the reason I don't spend much time talking about health is because it very rarely is the reason people quit marijuana. No more caring what people think. Stoners are the best at caring so much what everyone thinks of them and saying the total opposite. But of course that's not you, so we'll move on. Not worrying about running out. When I smoke weed, it just constantly pissed me off, especially when I stopped dealing it and I had to pay full price like everybody else. And then you get low on it and it's like, you get that feeling, don't you? You don't want to run out, but you couldn't be bothered going to score and you don't have the ability to save it till tomorrow or anything. Thing is, if you quit weed, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff that occupies so much of your thinking now. 49. Improved concentration levels. 50. Serotonin levels return to normal. You can process the emotions, right? 51. A straight up increase in all areas of happiness, right? Happiness can be broken down into many different areas. The main three categories are pleasure, purpose, and passion. The thing is, if you don't have passion and you don't have purpose, and you're like 30, or you're getting older and older, you're going to feel less fulfilled. You can't rely on pleasure things to keep you happy. And they're usually just tangible things. How much money's in your bank account? How cool is your car? How much sexy time do you get with girls? How much weed do you smoke, right? Drugs. These are all pleasurable things. No one's denying that. But they don't give you any purpose and any passion. And as you grow older, it's going to mean a hell of a lot less to you. Some of the most depressed people on the planet are freaking millionaires because they relied on material possessions to keep them happy and it didn't work. And you see it all the time. How many super famous people do you know that are totally depressed in rehab centers? Right? It's really, really common stuff because humans don't understand what makes them happy. And if you get it twisted, if you kind of get confused about what makes you happy, for example, smoking weed makes me happy, right? That is a confused thought. And if you have these confused thoughts, it can derail your life so dramatically, man. You'll end up in such a different place in 10 years. People that come to me, what they're supposed to be and what they are completely different things. And what we do is get them off the weed and also help them invest in their own personal development. And instantly it pushes them back on the right path they're supposed to be on, which involves passion and purpose. And suddenly they're so much happier and they can do all these extra things they weren't able to do before. 52, you become more reliable. You show me a reliable stoner and I'll show you someone that'll be more reliable if they weren't a stoner. 53, no need to hide anything. And even if you don't think you hide anything, I'm a pretty good example. I used to deal drugs and everyone I knew that. Including my parents, my family, everybody knew what I did. And I didn't think I cared at the time. But still, if my mother would invite me around for dinner and I was busy dealing or busy being a stoner, I would lie. I would make up a story. And she knew it was a lie, but I was doing it to protect her. I would lie to get out of it. Same with work. Stoners get sick more often than non-stoners. And that's a fact in itself. But if you look at sick days of stoners, it's off the charts. And I don't think it's because they're always sick with the sniffles at home. I think it's because they'd rather smoke weed than go to work. Or maybe they're having trouble waking up in the morning. It's weed related, right? 54, forgotten memories creep back. This is just an awesome thing. 55 is your sex drive, my friends. Your sex drive will increase. You are going to enjoy sex more. So not only can you persuade more women to sleep with you, but you're going to actually perform better in bed. The girl's actually going to enjoy it, and so are you. And it's funny, because a lot of people say the opposite, but it's the same with everything with marijuana. People can perceive it in complete opposite ways all the time. But I'm pretty damn sure that a lot of long-term, very regular smokers will support me on this. At the end of the day, if you have less oxygen in your blood cells, which you do, you're a stoner. If your presence is lower, if your relationships are cheaper or more shallow, your energy levels are lower, your happiness levels are lower, your confidence is lower, sex is not going to be as good. My friends, sex is good. You want sex. If that's not a damn motivating reason to quit, I don't know what is. 56, improved sense of smell. And that's a common one, but not as commonly spoke about as improved sense of hearing. And I remember probably a week after I quit weed, and I was walking through the mall. It was like 6 people in a line sort of walked past me, and they were all talking about something, and I was just walking the other way doing my own thing. And I remember just being completely dumbfounded that not only did I hear this conversation in the background, right, but I completely knew what they were on about, what they were talking about, where they were going, what the mood of the group was, who the unpopular one was. I knew everything just from hearing these 5 seconds of talk as they went past. Something that I probably always heard but never processed before. Your reticulator activating system, right? It's a part of your brain, right in the center of your brain. And what it does is, say you hear your name in the distance, you're always going to hear that because your brain's constantly looking for things that are relevant to you. So you actually hear tons of stuff, but it's all filtered out by your reticulator activating system because it thinks it's not important to you. I'll give you an example. Have you ever bought a certain type of car? Let's say it was a white van. And the second you buy it, you see tons of this white van everywhere when you never saw it before. So what's really happening? Well, the car was always there, but now your reticulator activating system is letting that information through to your conscious self because it thinks it's relevant to you. Okay, so they're the extreme examples that everybody can relate to. But when you smoke weed, you're filtering out all this other stuff that you really should not be. And it stops you from growing, it stops you from learning, it stops you from developing yourself. No more making BS excuses, right? The excuses you give your job for your shortcomings. The excuses you give your friends for not going to the party. The excuses you give your family for not going to dinner with them. You just make up shit and you do it on autopilot to get out of the things that you think will cause you pain. And the reason that usually you think it's going to cause you pain is because you're the stoner of that group and they're not stoners. So you don't want to be called out on your stonerism. You get out of your social obligations. 60, massive increase in dreaming. And dreams are going to flood back into your life when you quit marijuana. And it's one of the most exciting things you can do because dreaming is your spirit self trying to communicate with you. And almost always what a dream, I believe, is about, it's usually about the gap between where you are and where you believe you should be. I had a guy once, he worked in the government, he wanted to be a writer. His passion was writing, but he had this 9 to 5 rat race job that he absolutely hated. Anyway, he stayed in that job for 20 years. Why? Because he was smoking weed all the time, coming home, not thinking about it, not dealing with life, the usual, right? Anyway, he came to us, we helped him out, he quit marijuana, and subsequently ended up a great writer, by the way. So you know what happens? He finally quit smoking weed, and all of these dreams come flooding into his life. And the fact is they were always there. You dream every night anyway, but you don't remember them when you're a stoner. Now he was remembering them, and what we teach you to do is keep a notepad by the side of your bed, because within 10 seconds of waking up, 50% of your dream is forgotten. And within 30 seconds of waking up, 90% of your dream is forgotten. So within that first 10 seconds, what you want to do is wake up, and as you're grabbing your little dream journal that you're going to have, you try to recap the entire dream, right? Because you only have 10 seconds. And once you start remembering it while you're consciously awake, it transfers that information to your subconscious to your conscious, which means you can write down the dream you just had. And you can analyze it and say, right, who is this character? Maybe it was someone you know, or maybe it was representing someone you know, or maybe it was representing something you know about, or an event, or something that happened to you in life, or something you're blaming, or an excuse, or anything. Your dreams tell you a lot about what's going on the inside. And when all these cool dreams come flooding back into your life, you're going to be able to analyze them and work out what they mean and where you should be. And it's a real cool spiritual journey, something that you're probably well behind on if you've smoked weed for over a decade every single day, like I did. Anyway, this guy had a recurring dream that was basically him walking through his work office, and the whole place was filled with water, although you couldn't see it. And he explained this dream in one of his articles he wrote when he became a writer. And it was really cool to read. And although he couldn't see the water, he could feel it. So he'd try to walk through his office and he would be held back by this water. Like when you try to walk underwater, you're totally held back by the force of the water. And that's how he felt. It was a recurring dream he was having of him walking through his government office with this held back feeling. What do you think the dream was trying to tell him? It's obvious, right? He analysed it properly. We got 60 reasons here for why you should quit marijuana. Also, what was asked was what I went through when I quit marijuana. What did I notice the most? But before I tell you how I think it affected me the most when I quit, I want to tell you the 5 main reasons people tell us they want to quit marijuana. So this is from usually, the average person that comes to us has smoked marijuana for like 8 years, some 30, 40 years, some 2 or 3 years. But the average is around 8 years. And this is what most of them tell me about why they want to quit marijuana. First reason is a need to make something of yourself in life. Or it's usually written in a way where I should be here and I'm not. You know, in every area of your life, people always should all over themselves. I should have more money. I should be higher in my career. I should have more friends. I should be more successful. I should be more reliable. I should be more powerful. I should be leaving a legacy. I should be a better father. You know, I should. And you're shooting all over yourself. It's not a great way to live. But this is the number one reason people write down for quitting marijuana. And, you know, you could almost say it's not relevant, but it is. The second reason is being held back in life again, specifically due to apathy. Apathy is the whole attitude of I don't care. In Australia, we have a stupid saying, which is, she'll be right. You're driving down the road and your car's got smoke belting out of the bonnet and the wheel falls off and you're headed for a cliff. And the guy driving's like, she'll be right. You know, it's an Aussie saying, it's ridiculous, it's stupid, but it represents apathy, which is the main personality trait of somebody that smokes weed. They don't care. They don't care about anything. The problem with that is you do really care. It's just marijuana that makes you not care. And the long-term result is you end up with a life you don't care about when you quit weed. So you quit smoking weed and then you wake up from like 10 years of basically sleepwalking and you suddenly say to yourself, what the hell is this life? I hate this. Number 3, severe lack of emotional intelligence when you stop smoking. A lot of people that have smoked weed for many years, suddenly they have to quit for a week or a certain time period due to, you know, family obligations with Christmas or something, right? They have to quit for traveling or whatever. And as soon as they quit, they realize that they're not emotionally stable at all. Something goes wrong with them and they completely overreact emotionally. And they never do that when they smoke weed, but all of a sudden they've put weed down and they're an emotional mess. And it's because you have a lack of emotional intelligence. You've been using marijuana to mask emotion, which means you haven't felt the full force of emotion, which means you haven't developed a way to deal with emotion, which is called emotional intelligence. Don't get it confused with the fact that music sounds better when you smoke weed and all these very short-term things that happen to you when you smoke weed. Oh, smoking marijuana makes me feel more emotions. Well, no, it doesn't. Not long-term. It's just that you're feeling the emotions while you're on marijuana. I'm talking about the type of person you are when you don't smoke weed. That's what's changing. Not how you feel when you do smoke weed. That's short-term and irrelevant. The fourth main reason people tell us they want to quit marijuana is just to pass a drug test. And, you know, that's a really common one because there's a lot of drug tests in the workplace. But I don't judge. I don't care why you want to quit weed. If you want to quit weed, I will help you quit weed. A lot of people take advantage of our natural marijuana detox course in order to get all the marijuana metabolites out of their body. I'm happy for them. And number 5 is decreasing social skills or social anxiety when you're meant to be going out and you've got all these social obligations that you can't keep to and you keep making excuses for. And, you know, you've hit this point where the excuses aren't even good enough for you anymore, right? You feel pain associated to going out to a party because you have social anxiety. And, you know, I don't like the word anxiety. To me, it kind of means like a panic attack, or that's what it did mean. And nowadays I know that it's common. Nobody talks about it, but so many people have social anxiety, especially people that have smoked weed for so many years. And again, this is something that you will overcome so quickly when you quit. It's not something to overly worry about, but it is a strong reason for quitting marijuana. And quickly, last question asked of me was, why did I quit weed? What was the main benefit I found when I quit weed? I dealt drugs for 10 years, so I didn't develop a career. I didn't develop in any way I should have been developing. I was hanging around totally terrible people, I was part of a sort of partnership of dealing which involved four people, myself and three other guys. Out of those three guys, one guy got killed. He was stabbed in the jugular for 200 grand. One guy moved to Scotland, and the other guy's in prison today. So the reason I wanted to quit marijuana was because as soon as I threw the lifestyle away, I kind of saw a little bit more clearly how off track I was in my life. I had all these should things. And the main thing I think quitting marijuana gave me was total clarity about where I should be heading in life and what I should be doing. And I always talk about, pleasure, passion, purpose. I had no passion or purpose. These days I do. My purpose is to help people avoid the lifestyle decision that I made when I was younger and put them back on the right path so they know exactly what fulfills them and they know how to achieve it. And because that's my goal and my focus, I believe that is one of the main reasons that people that quit marijuana with us end up unbelievably successful.